Jeopardy, contestant accused of being disrespectful, others, pathetic, in wild moments of 2023. Jeopardy is currently hosted solely by Ken Jennings after Mayim Bialik announced her departure earlier this month. Jeopardy remains one of the most popular game shows of all time. The show was originally hosted by Art Fleming from 1964 to 1979, then Alex Trebek took over when it was rebooted in 1984 and hosted until his death in 2020. Ken Jennings and Mayim Bialik were named as the next permanent hosts in July 2022, but this month Bialik announced that she'd no longer be hosting syndicated episodes of the show, leaving Jennings as the sole host. SSN 24 News Digital takes a look back at some of the crazier moments on Jeopardy! This year, from contestants' outrageous wagers to their bizarre behavior. Gonna go jump off a cliff now. In February, the show began airing the High School Reunion Tournament, a tournament featuring contestants who had previously competed in teen tournaments. Audrey Satchevi, one of those contestants who was a student at Indiana University at the time of the taping, made waves when she discussed a hobby she enjoyed during the show's interview portion. "Yeah, so I'm kind of an old soul," she said. "I've been collecting some things that are kind of obsolete now. I've been collecting records, CDs and DVDs. I just got a new DVD, and I'm really excited about it, but I miss my childhood a little bit, I guess." Several fans reacted strongly to the idea that collecting DVDs would be considered an activity for an old soul, with one taking to X, formerly Twitter, to write, "I just shriveled up into dust when Audrey said her collection of obsolete things included records, CDs, and DVDs." Another wrote, "The girl on Jeopardy just said, I like to collect old things and then talked about her DVD collection. Gonna go jump off a cliff now. We totally blew it." In March, an editing error in one episode revealed the final scores at the very beginning of the show, effectively spoiling the entire game. Fans were frustrated enough that executive producer Michael Davies spoke out about the mistake. "Right off the bat, apologies to our entire audience," Davies said on the Inside Jeopardy! Podcast. "We totally blew it at the top of the show. We made a horrible error where we revealed the final scores at the end in the opening cutaway shot during Mayim's monologue." He explained that what had happened was that they had to redape Bialik's opening monologue, something that in itself isn't uncommon. Normally when this happens, the scores on the podiums will be adjusted back to match whatever moment needs reshooting. Davies said, "This was then not caught in post-production, it was not caught in the final QC, quality control. There are so many elements that should check this." He apologized again for the error and promised that a new set of protocols had been put into place to stop anything like this from happening again. Such a buffoon. A woman named Karen Morris competed in another March episode, and one mistake she made worked viewers into a frenzy. As the contestants neared the end of the game, she had a huge lead over her fellow competitors. She had earned $21,800, while her competitors had earned $7,100 and $6,400. She landed on a daily double, and had she made a modest bet, she could have cinched the game. Instead, she bet $10,000, failed to give an answer, then missed the final Jeopardy clue, leaving her in third place when the game was over. "Good God," one person wrote on X, "don't believe I've ever seen a contestant go so high and fall so fast as Karen did today." "Karen may be smart but she has zero common sense," another fan claimed. One viewer even said, "Karen is such a buffoon. Rare to see someone lose like that. Rubbed me the wrong way." Bialik hosted an episode in April that got a lot of fans talking about the issue of proper pronunciation when it comes to Jeopardy! Answers. A clue in the category, the quotable Alex read, an author and former prisoner, "Socialism of any type and shade leads to a total destruction of the human spirit." The correct answer was Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and all three contestants seemed to answer with that, but Bialik didn't accept them because their pronunciations were off. She acknowledged the issue, telling them that the name was a tricky one to pronounce, but some fans still took issue with the idea that each of the contestants knew the right response but were ruled incorrect. "If you're not going to accept anyone's attempt to pronounce Solzhenitsyn, don't write a clue about him," one person suggested on X. A Reddit user wrote, "Something rubbed me the wrong way about that Solzhenitsyn clue. The show usually gives some strong leeway for if you can pronounce a response in a reasonable way given a spelling, and all three definitely knew who the clue was referring to. I don't think it mattered in the long run of the game, but it sets an awkward precedent for the future." Extremely disappointed with Jeopardy! A contestant named Ben Chan found himself on a winning streak in May, coming out on top for 9 straight games. His luck came to an end during his 10th game when Jennings ruled his final Jeopardy answer incorrect, something many fans thought was wrong. The final Jeopardy category was Shakespeare's characters. The clue read, both of the names of these two lovers in a Shakespeare play come from the Latin words for blessed. The correct answer was Beatrice and Benedick, the main characters from Much Ado About Nothing. Chan was familiar with the play, but he wrote Beatrice and Benedict, switching out the last letter of the latter character's name. Jennings wouldn't accept the answer, and he lost the game. Since when does being off by one letter count in Final Jep? A viewer asked on X. There's no other character he could have meant. Another wrote, I am in disbelief and extremely disappointed with Jeopardy. Ben Chan is cut out of the game for one letter wrong spelling? Ben was the only one who had the answer. The winner did not even know any of the answer. A third comment read, I can't believe at Jeopardy made a contestant lose for writing Beatrice and Benedict instead of Benedick. I'm not even that petty, and I'm a Shakespeare professor. You heathens. A June episode of the show provided a triple stumper with a clue that read, Matthew 6 verse 9 says, Our Father, which art in heaven, this be thy name. The Bible verse is part of the Lord's Prayer, an extremely well-known prayer from the New Testament. Many people who watched the show thought the question was incredibly easy, and some of those people were upset that all three contestants failed to buzz in with the correct answer, hallowed. At Jeopardy has three geniuses on the show today. The question was in the Bible. It says Our Father, who art in heaven, blank, be thy name. The answer is hallowed. Of course, none of the three knew the answer. Sad world we're in, a viewer wrote on social media. That's hallowed, you heathens, another joked. One person even called the turn of events pathetic. WTH. Alex Gordon, a medical student, had $15,000 when he landed on a daily double in the category Stitch Incoming. The clues had all been about topics related to medicine and healthcare, and before he placed a wager, Jennings asked him, How confident are you in a medical category, Alex? Obviously feeling confident with questions related to his field of study, he bet $12,000, then received his clue, which read, Joba Chamberlain used the scar from below the elbow surgery named for his fellow pitcher as part of a smiley face tattoo. The correct answer was Tommy John, but Gordon wasn't able to come up with that. Instead, he named Joe DiMaggio and lost the bulk of his winnings. WTH. You tricked this doctor into believing the question was a medical question, one user wrote on X. It wasn't. It was about a tattoo and baseball players. Another complained that #Jeopardy pulled a D move by slipping in a baseball question when everything else in the category was medical related. I think if Ken Jennings kept his mouth shut, #Alex Gordon would only have bet $5,000. Some argued that Tommy John surgery is done and discussed enough that Gordon could have known it, but a viewer still complained, Ken seemed to challenge Alex to bet big when it wasn't necessary. Brutal. One final Jeopardy clue over the summer was considered by many fans to be especially easy. It read, this compound word meant an astronomical object of exceptional brightness in 1910. It was soon applied to actors and athletes. Two contestants had the correct answer, which was superstar, but one wore a notably solemn expression as his answer was revealed to be, what is star? He was the reigning champion and had gone into the final category in the lead, but his incorrect response, which was noticeably not a compound word, pushed him back to third place. Several viewers noted how easy they believed the question to be, with one person saying, losing on one of the easiest Final Jeopardies ever is brutal. Taylor must have misunderstood the category, someone theorized about the contestant. That's why it's important to fully understand the category before providing a response. A bonehead wager. During the new season, which began airing in September, a man named John made an interesting choice at the end of his game that left viewers, and seemingly Jennings, puzzled. John went into the Final Jeopardy clue in third place with $14,200, which was $9,000 less than the contestant in first place. He was the only contestant to successfully answer the question, but when Jennings went to see how much he'd be adding to his winnings, he said, "Oh, you won't. You bet nothing." Interesting. Because he decided not to wager anything at all, he didn't win the game, despite having the only right answer. For many, it was a baffling choice. A bonehead wager by John, one person exclaimed in the comment section of the Jeopardy! YouTube page. He got the correct response, but wagered nothing. This victory was snatched from him. Another noted, it must hurt to lose, but it must really hurt to lose because you were timid. John's about to get lit up for making such a poor wager, one fan wrote, and another person joked, I'll start. Unsportsmanlike and disrespectful.